Welcome back. Thank you for passing by to click on this channel. Thanks so much. I appreciate you all. Thank you. So thank you so much. I love you guys. Also, today, guys, we want to look at why Michael Langley was in Kenya, what really happened, because you guys know what General Michael Langley said about Captain Abraham Traore. But who is this General Michael Langley? General Michael Langley is the first black four-star general in U.S. Marine Corps of U.S. African Command called African. So he is the first since August 2022. So he has been given this office as U.S. African Commander. So the question, he was in Kenya, was what was his assignment in Kenya and what was he doing there? Okay, we were going to talk about, but the major part we are going to explore is when the Kenya TV station hosting what he say about Captain Abraham Traore and Burkina Faso. That is the area we need to explore. So guys, because they asked me a whole lot of questions, but guys, I want you to stay with me and listen what he says. Then when we come back, okay, we will say, okay, first, what was he really doing in Kenya? Let's explore there, then we'll go to the interview section. So let's summarize the whole thing. Why General Michael Langley, the U.S. Commander African, was in Kenya, in Nairobi. So he was an auto co-host a military conference that brings together over 30 African nations. So the discussion was clear that many African asking or who decide African security priority and who benefit when the foreign power caution Africa leaders against forming partner with China or Russia. So that was their major discussion and how to bring. So that was one of their major discussion and a lot more. So I don't want to go that area because I know a lot of you guys might have already gotten the update, but my major concern is to exploit the interview to point out things that will also benefit us for we to learn. So please, okay, guys, take a look of the interview.
All right, so it's about countries perhaps taking up their own autonomy. General, let's talk about countries taking on their own autonomy. You are on African soil, not for the first time, but this would be a good moment to ask about one of the countries that has taken its own autonomy, and that's Burkina Faso. Yeah. Your remarks recently at the Senate seem to suggest that he's diverting, that's General Traore, is diverting its 4 billion gold reserves to sustain his military rule rather than for public welfare. These remarks sparked widespread condemnation across the continent. What did you mean by that statement?
Let me speak to Burkina Faso's sovereignty. They maintain their sovereignty.
So guys, sorry for distraction. I want you to pay close attention to what Michael Langley answered. If it
how they use their resources. They make their decisions who their resources go to for military support. That's their sovereign right. But my cautionary tale was just from a military perspective. That was a Senate Armed Services Committee asking me a direct question. Burkina Faso, a lot of great things going on to progress them forward, okay? But then when you look at the military part of it, knowing that that's the epicenter of global terrorism, it was my time to illuminate that this is probably their weakest point, and there needs to be sufficient resources going towards for the whole fight of terrorism in that country, period. They make their decisions, though. That's their sovereignty and their sovereign right to make their decisions, what is appropriate, what's not. But I wanted to illuminate that it's going in the wrong direction now. ISIS is getting stronger. JNIM is getting stronger. Al-Qaeda in the lands of the Maghreb is getting stronger in that country.
And do you think it's getting stronger after General Traore took over?
It has. Just look at the numbers of attacks. It really has, since 2022. I've been tracking this since I took command. So, no ill will towards him, but the decisions is their own. They're looking for other ways to be able to, they're still on warfighting footing, but it's just going to take more resources.
So you stand by that statement? Because there's been pressure on you to walk those statements back.
That's my statement. That's my assessment. That it's getting worse. More needs to be done for not just local, but whole of country, because of these violent extremist organizations are seeking revenue, they're seeking resources, they're seeking recruiting from the Burkinabe people, and they're seeking refuge within their country. That threatens their sovereignty.
And that threatens America's interest?
Say again?
Does that then threaten America's interests?
Yes, thank you for asking that. Because especially ISIS, and of course in East Africa is inextricably linked all the way to ISIS West Africa, ISIS Sahel. And there's going to be probably a move of foot for them to move and seek refuge within the line. So we have shared objectives, and we offer to work together with the Burkinabe government and border countries. Mali, Niger, coastal West Africa countries, collective, because here's what these organizations do. Here's what these terrorist organizations do. They seek refuge in the seams or the borders of these countries and lets them thrive and grow and lets them recruit, gain resources to carry on their illicit and nefarious activities against the populations of those people.
And what would America, perhaps AFRICOM, be prepared to do? Would you be considering an ouster like we saw with Muammar Gaddafi in Libya? Because there's still many Africans who are yet to recover from that. If this is a bigger threat, as you say, in Burkina Faso, what is AFRICOM prepared to do about it?
We do indications and warnings. There's a number of activities that we do, and we'll just go ahead and mention building institutional capacity. It's not going to be U.S. boots on the ground. Very, very small for exchange of ideas and training, exercises. Over time, that builds institutional capacity and capability in these armies. There, AFRICOM, we are working towards a burden sharing and a burden shift for their independent operations. That's our goal. We have the shared objectives because these same terrorist groups can threaten our homeland. So we're in concert. I was just in African Lion over in Morocco. A number of countries working together.
Is Burkina Faso invited here today for this conference?
Yes. Yes. They were invited to African Lion in Morocco. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Like I said, we're moving forward.
Okay.
We're moving forward because we have that shared goal of defeating terrorism.
All right. Speaking of that, because the reaction out of the statements that you made about Burkina Faso were several African leaders feeling you are speaking on sovereignty issues that America shouldn't be. And as a result, there are those who see the role of Africa as less of a partner in, the war against, shared threats, as you mentioned, and more of a protector of Western or American economic interests that allows access to Africa's vast mineral resources, and as more of a paternalistic relationship than one of respect amongst peers. What would you respond to that?
I respond that there's others on the globe that do that. There's others on the globe that do that. I won't even bring it up. We should even already know. Okay, but I won't even bring that up.
Okay.
We respect the sovereignty. We respect their decisions. We respect their decisions of who they choose as a security partner. and then we measure the common denominator that's keeping these countries across the Sahel from progressing forward. You know, in 2050, you know, the largest workforce on the globe is going to come out of the continent of Africa. The youth need hope. They need peace and stability so they can hit their potentials. That's a long-range goal of Africa as we look to help these countries set those conditions for stability and security so prosperity can be presented to all the populations and the youth. Pan-Africanism is real and it's strong, and there's an opportunity to come up on the global stage, and this continent can do it. That's what we really envision.
So you're not concerned about China and Russia expanding their military and economic influence across the continent?
We are concerned about it, yes.
What about it concerns you?
Well, you know, their influence. Their influence may not be looked upon as being a positive influence.
For who? For America or for Africa?
Well, for Africans, okay? And then, so Americans have that in mind, that for the African people and across all countries, be able to hit their maximum potential and independence and sovereignty and also freedoms by rules-based international order. Being able to get on the global stage and take a leadership role and provide for the people in peace and stability. Some of those aims are not the same as the approach of. So that's my perspective.
Do you have a counter strategy?
Do we have a counter strategy as far as to
China, Russia, their presence, because you say it doesn't align with the shared values?
Well, what we watch is the continent of Africa does not need to be militarized, let's put it that way. Does not need to be militarized. So we watch, as far as security agreements and what does it mean? Is it really for the stability to fight the threats of a African country, or is it for them and their ability to establish a global hegemon of basis? That's what concerns us.
We'll have to leave it there for now.
So guys, you actually listened to the interview. I just want to be fast because I didn't want to bore you guys. First, the statement the host of the interviewing was the what he said concerning Burkina Faso that raised the public eyebrow. Okay, you heard what he answered, that he was just saying it out of his military perspective. Okay, you know what he says, that Burkina Faso president, Captain Ibrahim Traore, is using the reserve of Burkina Faso gold to protect himself, not using it for the good of the people, that he will go to save, the people of Burkina Faso, which, the protests kick up worldwide. Now, you heard, I believe that is a very well learned, generals, that before you could even lay any accusation or say anything in the public, despite what they ask you, if you don't know, you will tell them, okay, you go out there to verify, make your research before you could, propagate wrong information that would poison the people's heart. So, guys, I think, all right. So was saying it out of it. I don't know whether you really, really believe that this is what he was trying to do. So, guys, I live there with you. Another statement he said he knows, he's speaking about Burkina Faso sovereignty, that, that a lot of good things, a lot of progress, a lot of development is going on Burkina Faso that will move them forward. But where he's having problem is the military and the terrorists. Okay, the terrorists. I want to summarize there. The terrorists, there is a lot of Al Qaeda, ISIS that he's They are settling, and they are using the resource. You heard what he said. But guys, if you could remember in US Congress, I believe I would have played you guys that video. Maybe I will leave you guys the video at last to watch. Okay, when they were talking about the people who sponsored this ISIS, Al Qaeda, Boko Haram, who is the sponsor? Because these people must have sponsor with the, and he said they are growing stronger. So who is their sponsor? If he's saying this, so guys, I just want to leave you with a question. Did you think that every question that was they asking concerning Burkina Faso, that everything he was saying, was it correct, or he has changed his mind based on what he says? So guys, please do well to drop your own opinion. But take a look of this short video, this people, because this will really answer for himself who sponsored this ISIS, Boko Haram. I think the video was everywhere, but take a look. Then please do well to drop your own opinion. Thank you.
Bunch of dishonest people. They've created ISIS. Hillary Clinton created ISIS with Obama. Created with Obama.
For the betterment of the women in Afghanistan. It is not. You are funding terrorism, and it's coming through USAID. And it's not just Afghanistan.